Good evening, and welcome to Gatos y Español, a little Breakout Edu about Cinco de Mayo that my colleague Val and I created today. We were pretty excited to share this with everyone as we worked very hard on this for many hours today. Our brains were so fried after we got done with this today. So a little history on the Breakout Edu. Back in the fall, she and I had gone to an escape room with our significant others, and we thought it was a really cool idea, possibly for the classroom, but we had no idea how one would implement that, so we just kind of let it go. Then, a couple weeks ago, we attended the Ohio Foreign Language Association's annual conference, and we were able to attend a session by a great teacher who has been doing these in her classroom, had designed one for the session that we were at so that we could actually see how it went. And suddenly it became very clear to Val and I how exactly we could wrap our minds around this. So today we sat down, we kind of went through the breakoutedu.com website, we Googled other things, looked at other people's stuff that they had posted. There is a Facebook page called Breakout Edu en Español. They've got different things there that we were able to look at. So we were excited to start wrapping our brains around this and creating our own for our kids. So, just to give you a little heads up, this is the first one either of us has ever created. We have not at this point test-driven it with students. They're not actually going to do it until Cinco de Mayo in a couple weeks. And you probably might need to modify some things. There might be some things that we haven't thought of that we'll discover once we actually roll this out to kids. Also, there are things that are specific to our school in there, so you might have to change those. For example, one of our last clues ends up giving the students the numbers to call our school secretary, so that's going to be different at your school. She's going to give it the last clue. So this video is just really intended to show you how we put it all together so that you can start the wheels turning for how you would develop your own. It was very helpful for us to hear at that session at the conference as to how somebody else was doing it so that it got us moving. So this Breakout was created for Cinco de Mayo for my colleague's 7th and 8th grade classes. She sees them every other day. They were created for my Spanish 1 classes and for her Spanish 2 classes. Now, I have to say, with my head hung a little low, that as much as I support and implement as much as I can the 90% in my classroom, that we have some very challenging classes that you're looking here on this list this year. And so we felt, because not only are they challenging classes, but this is the first time we've done a breakout, that it was probably better just to do this cultural thing in English so that they would have a better understanding of it. And we chose Cinco de Mayo to try this out with because, well, it's that time of the year and students have a lot of misconceptions about it. So we wanted to talk about it at the lower levels so that we had gotten that out of the way. All right, so let's look at what we had done. So this is the survey that we created in Google Forms that takes them through everything. I've seen a lot of Breakout EDUs where they give them all of the clue where they can put their information in there at one time. But we wanted to make sure that students were collaborating, so we made it so that they had to complete one together in order to move on to the next one, to move on to the next one, to get to the end, so that they couldn't divide it and say, I'm going to do number 1, you work on number 2. We wanted them both to be working on number 1 so that it was a collaborative effort. So the first thing they'll see is the directions, which this, if you look at it from their side, they would see that. Then we have asking them to put their names in. Yes, it'll collect the information from the student who's actually logged in, but we wanted to make sure we're going to put them in pairs. We wanted to make sure that we had the names of all the students who were in the group. And then we called them phases, and there are folders that I'm going to share on this post where you can view the information that's in each of these phases, the resources that we're using so that you can see that, the little questionnaires and stuff we made up. We do have questions that go through, like true and false questions that go through each of these, and we're just going to kind of put those around the room and have the kids figure out, oh, this one goes with phase 1 or this one goes with phase 2. So the first one's based on a video to get a 3-digit code. The second one is based on an infographia. This one, I believe, if I remember correctly, is based on an authentic resource that is in Spanish. They're looking for cognates, much like they would do on an IPA with the keyword recognition section in the interpretive reading. The third one is based on another video. These are very short videos, 2 to 3 minutes, to get another numeric code. Last one, we have some infografias that they're going to be looking at. These would be in English. And the final one is figuring out, based on the information that they know and they've been looking at throughout these other things, and this will have them come up with our secretary's extension so that they can enter that last one in there, call her, she'll give them the last clue, and then they'll start looking for the key. So we have little locks, just travel locks that you can put on your luggage. They don't actually have a combo on them, they're just keys. We're going to lock up a book bag or something that we can find that we can lock. And once they find out that there's a key in the room to unlock it, then we're going to put some other deterrent keys or distraction keys around the room until they can figure out which one it is to open it up for a prize. We didn't actually buy the Breakout Edu kit that's available. We just figured at this point, since it's toward the end of the year, it's the first time we've tried one, we're going to gauge student interest and all that good stuff, that we would just work with what we already had. And so that would be the last thing they would see. I would take you through this, but I'd have to enter all the stuff, so and hopefully you know what... oh, there's my cleaner update for my computer. So hopefully you know what those would look like with a Google form as they go through them, the survey. So I think that's pretty much it in a nutshell. So we'll definitely give you some updates, and if you create something that is based on Cinco de Mayo also that works really well for you, it would be awesome to hear about your experience too. So thanks so much for your time. Have a great evening. Adios.